Yeah.
Let's do this.
Okay.
And we're with another episode of the Cosmic Crossfire. It's Gerald coming right back at you here, but it wouldn't be a Cosmic Crossfire without my good friend. He is the traveling man today. It is my good friend from Rob McCallum Films. You got to check out all the great things that are going on with his awesome experience known as Rob McCallum Films with Box Art, the Kitty documentary, the He-Man documentary, Power of Grayskull coming up, and so much more by checking out today on robmccallumfilms.com, Rob McCallum Films on Facebook, and at Rob McZob on Twitter. It's my good friend. It's my good friend. It is Rob McCallum. Busy man. Busy man.
Busy day today, my friend. A lot going on, but that is just another day, I suppose, in life. It just depends on where the busyness is coming from. We are getting set to move, and it goes on when you move from place to place. And we got moving from a house to another house, so lots of packing, lots of paperwork. It's happening, but there's always time for the crossfire. I hope. Anyways,
well, this is what, the third time you've had to pack in less than 8 months?
That's ridiculous. Let's just say that it's ridiculous.
It is.
So, but you can't keep the spirit down, right?
No, nor the cinder blocks. No, if you know Rob McCallum. But
your hands haven't reached the stairs.
No, they haven't. And I think I still will be traumatized for the rest of time for that.
There's only one word that describes that. Wicked.
Wicked indeed. Wicked indeed. But we're here to talk today about pop culture, and I know you're extremely busy, and we truly appreciate you taking the time to talk to us today. But pray tell, Rob, what's on your mind when it comes to pop culture?
Well, we've got a lot of things on the docket today, things that we've covered in other episodes. So it's really great that we get to do all these setup and callbacks and carry on these stories from earlier episodes of the Crossfire. Let's jump right into Star Wars news. You know, Star Wars is always a staple, a pillar, an anchor on the Cosmic Crossfire. Today, a new rumor has hit the web that says Lando is set to appear in Episode 9. They've been making waves about who could be making a cameo in Episode 9 in the same way that people may not have expected Yoda in Episode 8. So now they're saying Lando is set to appear in Episode 9. The question to you and all our listeners is this good world building, bringing back characters from the original trilogy and possibly these standalone films? Or is this just another nostalgia crutch? How do you feel about Lando possibly appearing in Episode 9?
Well, I think it does.
As Billy D. Williams, should I say, not Donald.
Yeah. Well, I think it does provide a goodwill statement to those who were really turned off by The Last Jedi and others. But
How? Well, how is that goodwill?
I think a lot of people are just still into the old characters and they didn't want to see them go. I will say this: as I was talking to my daughters yesterday about this at length. I think they had an opportunity to go ahead and close the chapters on the original characters in The Last Jedi, and they chose not to do so on all accounts. I know I've been back and forth, I think, with you this on before in regards to Princess Leia, because they did have the opportunity, unfortunately, due to real life circumstances with her untimely death. Now they have to deal with her death in maybe a not so organic way in Episode 9. And also, when it comes to Lando, he has a lot of goodwill as far as from the Solo, a Star Wars story, because Donald Glover's performance is considered one of the best. I thought it was a truly great and inspiring performance.
Inspiring what? To bake a loaf of bread? What are you inspired to do by that performance? Wow, I want to get into acting because that was good. That kind of inspiration? Or did you just enjoy it? Don't say you're inspired by it unless you're going to act on something, some sort of action that you saw because of that. Wow, I'm going to take up sabacc. I was inspired to become a better sabacc player because of Donald Glover.
Well, possibly that, but it was an enjoyable performance. It was, I think, the best of the actual, cast that was there. I thought it was just truly a really strong performance in what was a fairly good movie at best, especially as far as you saw it, I'm sure, correct? Because we never did get a chance to do a
Oh,
spoiler
I've seen
cast.
it. I've seen it, and
Okay.
I was inspired to discuss it with you, but we never got
Oh
around
my
to it.
gosh, you were really, yes. That was, well.
I've had
Yeah,
some coffee, folks. Here we go.
you're gonna have to you were gonna have to inspire Jay to come on, and that was the issue. So,
Mhm.
but anyways, we just couldn't match a time to do it. But now it's too late to do a spoiler cast. But anyways, I digress. I think it was a great performance by Donald Glover. It obviously it enhances the Lando Calrissian character, and he's always been a favorite of the Star Wars universe. And I don't see a problem with him being in Episode 9.
You see, I'm really split on this one. On the one hand, going into episode 7 and even slightly in episode 8, I was really of the mindset that you don't need to add new characters and worlds. You've established so much with the original trilogy, and even the prequels didn't really journey that much further with new places and characters that they were adding that were really tethered to that core group of players that we knew from the original trilogy that have been proven that work well in a film and make people happy, but just is good storytelling. Now, of course, here we are, episode 9. We're talking about bringing some of these leggy characters back. And I feel like, well, why start now? Episode 9's a little late to do some fan service. Stick within this new setup that you've got going. Stick within this new world, these new places, these new people. You don't need to necessarily go back to that. In the same way that episode 7 didn't even feature Luke Skywalker in the last 2 minutes of it, you don't necessarily need to have Lando in this one. And I worry that if you put Lando in this one, it's further going to complicate a Lando solo film down the road, because I don't think you're going to do the character justice by seeing more of him. This was the problem that people had with the Han Solo film. We've already seen so much Han. Do we need an origin story for Han Solo? A lot of people think we don't. A lot of people thought it was fun regardless. Not sure it was needed. And now with rumors of a Lando spinoff in that timeline, I don't know that we need to see Lando later. It's further going to say, well, we know what happens to Lando. We don't need to see anymore. It's going to reduce the stakes of a standalone film if it comes to that.
I like something that you've touched on before, and that these stories, the Han Solo story, the Boba Fett, the Landos, the Obi-Wans, they might be better served on a platform such as Amazon Prime or Netflix, as far as over a course of, like you had mentioned, a 10 to 12 episode arc. I would mind seeing in that realm, because I would like to see, for Lando's case, I'd like to see him do that little maneuver at the Battle of Danab, or in Solo, where they were trying to equate it out. You could obviously tell they were trying to do something as far as equate even a Solo mini trilogy type deal, as far as relate his story where he gets the cargo hold, the cargo confiscated in the next movie by the Empire, and that's how he starts to get in trouble with Jabba the Hutt and all that. Yeah, I agree with you. Maybe these anthology stories aren't meant best for the big screen, but I still think there's a place for them in the universe. But it just probably was better meant for, maybe, like I said, a streaming platform that is just trying to soak in as much content as they can get.
I just don't know that we need to see another character from the original trilogy thrown into episode 9. I was a huge fan of episode 8. I think there was precedent to see some Force ghosts appear later, like we saw in the original trilogy. I think Yoda was the most organic and obvious fit to kind of put in there in hindsight. I don't think Lando necessarily has a place. What's Uncle Lando going to do for Kylo Ren? Is he going to make him remember the old days of his dad and turn the tide? Like, I just don't see the role of Lando impacting everything in a bigger way than the character already did in Return of the Jedi, by coming on as aboard like General Calrissian did in the final fight. Like, what's he going to do? Is it going to be a la Jeff Goldblum in the new Jurassic Park, where he's just got one scene and he soaks up the stage for that one final time? I just don't see it really overall helping the story to see that familiar face. I think it's 100% fan service and not a lot of story. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. It'll be great when we see it, and if it turns out to be pivotal and key. I just think they have enough to mind and enough to resolve and enough work ahead of them without trying to get another original trilogy character in there organically and seamlessly, and to do it well.
Well, you're one of the biggest proponents of The Last Jedi. I'm not as high on it as you are, although I didn't think it was an awful movie by any stretch. But for me, Lando is one of the coolest characters in the Star Wars universe, and to me, the same thing as well. And like you said, if it's shoehorned in there, no, it's not going to work, and people are going to just think it's another form of just forced, another character on us. Pardon the pun there, but I just think that JJ does deserve some leeway in this type of situation, and since he's taken over the film and is actually, obviously putting a lot into it as far as hand in the writing and everything of that nature, I think he deserves some leeway and give him some slack. I think he will be able to find a way to put it in organically, to find a way to have Lando Calrissian a part of the actual film. Obviously, they're still going to focus mainly now on the new characters within the Star Wars realm, the Rey, the Poe, the Finn, the Kylo Ren. Obviously, they're going to try and focus on those four core characters. Whether or not that's going to build to universe beyond with one or two or even all of them, that I'm not sure. But I think at this point in time, it's just he's the last legacy character you can really throw in there left, if for people that still want to hold on to that and still may have a reason to go see the movie after all.
It'll be interesting to see what they try to do and what JJ tries to do for fan service. A lot of people harpooned him when it came to making episode 7 too much like episode 4 for the sake of fan service, and it was nothing original. It was just rehashed versions of everything we've seen before. So given that, I wonder if it's smart to put Lando in episode 9, and if he has the leeway to do it. And you can't please everybody. He's got to make the film for him first and foremost, and I don't know that including Lando is going to help his cause. I think it would be much cooler to make Lando's real standout appearance in his solo film. By solo film, I mean standalone film, because we saw how great Donald Glover's inspiring performance was in the solo film, of course. Let him be the star of that timeline and those films that are coming out and world building on that side. I think that's the route to go. Big Lando fan, just like you are, but I think that the peak of that character was the final battle in Return of the Jedi, and I think you could leave it at that.
Well, I agree with you on the statement that you can't.
Thank you. Agree with me. Thank you.
Well, like you've said before, you just can't please everyone, and of course, J.J. Abrams, I think, already has the knowledge that you cannot please everyone, and that includes especially Star Wars fans, as we have seen over the past few months.
The most buzzed about director's cut has a little bit more information now in the pipeline, Gerald. This possibly is the most sought after director's cut that has never been released. I don't know why, but here's the skinny. Apparently an artist who worked on Justice League has confirmed that there is a Zack Snyder cut for the film. Again, do we care? Are we just hoping that this cut exists so that the film can't be as bad as it actually is and can only be better? In fact, can't any other cut of the film actually make it better by existing in opposition to what has been released?
I'll say this. I did watch Justice League last week on the off chance. And
no wonder we didn't talk for 4 days while you grieved.
There you go. But it's okay with movie. I think it's better than BVS and also Man of Steel, in my opinion. I know you think otherwise.
Wow. Wow. We should just end the segment in the show right here, because you don't have any credibility for what comes out of your mouth next. After making that statement, Justice League is better than Man of Steel and Batman versus Superman.
I think you're still talking about a 6 out of 10.
No. Okay, here we go. Keep going. I've somehow tuned you out after that magnificent statement you just made.
Well, you and I seem to agree on everything.
You know it.
Yes. But I will say this, that there is plenty of room for improvement with that film, and I mean plenty. But to me, it was all right. It's just an all right film, and like I said, I watched it again last week, and thought it was a little bit better the second time around, but it still has its issues. So if there is a cut out there that can make it better, by all means, because it does emulate the Marvel Cinematic Universe way too much. There are some ugh moments, but there's also some cool moments too. I like some of the banter back and forth. I thought that was pretty entertaining. I really think there is a connection between the Wonder Woman character and the Batfleck, which is going to be a shame, because we're no longer probably going to see the Batfleck anymore and see that develop, because they're going to want to make a younger Batman now. thought it was, like I said, there were some signs there of hope, but unfortunately, like we know from all the domestic box office, the worldwide box office receipts, that it just wasn't something that the folks wanted to see in mass, at least as much as any of the other movies that have come out recently in the DC universe.
Okay, I'm going to cling to one thing that you said there. If you can,
Just one,
just one for now, just one for now. If you can make a better cut of this film, by all means, does that mean you're prepared to give another 2.5 hours or longer of your life to this film that's only okay? You've already given 5 hours of your life, more than half a day, a half a work day, and you're ready to give it another 2.5 hour, 3 hours, hoping that it's better, and for a film that's just okay.
Why not? Why not?
Because there's so many things to watch out there, Gerald. You know this. I know this. We talk about that repeatedly. Have you seen this? Have you not seen this? What's next in your queue? We know there is a ton of content out there. I don't have time or a place on my list for a second version of a film that was only okay, even if I wanted to agree with you that it was a 6 out of 10 or a 3 out of 5. I'm not saying I am, because I don't agree that. Even if I wanted to, I don't have time for a second chance film that I didn't love enough the first time.
Well, I'm still waiting for that 4-hour director's cut of Blade Runner 2049.
I still got to check that out. That's on my list. And I guarantee the first version of that will be way ahead of any recut Zack Snyder director's cut of Justice League.
Well, which cut of the Blade Runner? That's for sure, because there's so many out there. In fact, maybe there's even ones that we haven't seen.
All likely. All likely. What else is interesting in the talk of spin-offs and other movies is an Optimus Prime spin-off has been suggested now. In the wake of Bumblebee getting his own standalone film, there's reports that Optimus Prime will get his own spin-off movie. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, don't the Transformer films already feel like the Optimus Prime show? Why do we need a spin-off of Optimus when the 6 films or whatever are pretty much only focus on him as the main robot?
All I hear is, all I have when you say that is in the back of my head, Shia LaBeouf just screaming it so annoyingly, Optimus, Optimus, because it's just, like you said, he was the focus of all those films. And why would you go ahead and do a spin-off on him when, like you said, it's been so centralized in all these films, and he's been the cornerstone of all of them.
Well, versus Lego Movie 2, the sequel, in which we liked better for whatever reasons. We never got around to it because I think we ran short one week, but that was, I think that was the week when we had like 7 new trailers drop on like International Trailer Day on that one Friday. And both of those trailers dropped along with How to Train Your Dragon 3 and was it Immortal Machines or whatever that was? They all dropped on the same day. But those two I thought were really interesting because they were spun off from an existing film. So I'll throw it to you now. Which movie are you more excited for? Lego Movie 2, given what you've seen, or Bumblebee?
Well, Lego Movie 2 didn't even really look that good, but I would put it miles ahead of Bumblebee because I have zero desire to see Bumblebee. Absolutely zero, because I am done with the Transformer franchise. It's been played out. It's done. There's a reason why the numbers kept sliding down and down and down and even more down with each and every one. It's just that it's so just only lukewarm, because I did love the Lego Movie when it came out. I thought that was really enjoyable, but so far I've not seen anything to really impress me when it comes to the Lego Movie 2 as well.
I got to tell you, on paper, I would agree 100%. But Rob McCallum does always a little bit of digging about what's going on here. I thought the Lego Movie 2 looked, or Part 2 or whatever it's called, felt really boring. Nothing felt fresh. Felt like an extended joke that had already hit its punchline and was digging and hoping for more laughs. Just felt like it just feels like it's not going to be what the first one was. Hope it does well for everybody involved. I'm not excited.
For me, it's like Deadpool 2, because that's when I saw. That's exactly what I was thinking. I thought I was going to see this great spectacle again, laugh out loud, really just awesome. Good the second time around.
But then I started looking at Bumblebee, and it really starts. Well, we'll start with this, the nostalgia factor. Transformer fans are going to love the fact that you have a Bumblebee movie with the original Volkswagen Bug car that Bumblebee was known for back in Generation 1, the original Transformers cartoon and toy. So he's going to love, they're all going to love that. All the fans are going to love that. But what really got me is the director. Travis Knight is directing the Bumblebee spinoff. Now, Travis Knight, if you don't know that name, he is a critically acclaimed artist that works for Leica, the stop motion company behind Coraline, and he directed Kubo and the Two Strings. Both of those films are really excellent for me. They have really great storytelling and an emotional through line that, you know, kind of resonates around the world. And for that reason alone, I'm much more interested in Bumblebee, more than any other Transformer film, should I say, and especially more than Lego Movie 2. Travis Knight is the reason that I would eventually check out Bumblebee. I'm not going to race to the theater to see it, but I definitely will check it out because of who's in charge there.
Let me ask you this, though. From what I've seen, it looks like just a normal setup for every other Transformer movie that's been out there. So what do you think that's going to be different that he's going to be bringing to the Transformer mix, and, you know, especially in the case of Bumblebee?
I think there's going to be much like Jurassic World had that relationship with Blue and Chris Pratt's character. I think you're going to see a really solid relationship between Bumblebee and the girl that's the lead character. I think you're going to find that there is that sort of human-pet dichotomy and relationship going on, but then it's going to evolve a little bit more than that. And I think that's going to be what anchors the story all the way through.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. If it does prove to be something special, then you know what, I may even check it out when it hits a home video standard. Because as of now, I have
a home video stand. You're just gonna go down to the corner with a guy selling papers for 2 bits and check out the home video stand.
Home video standard, I said, as far as streaming. You're all ready to jump on me today.
I'm ready to go.
Yes, you must have way too much coffee, my friend. But just in it, even though you're doing a great job in trying to sell it to me.
Two films that might be potential disasters, and we turn our attention to one film that is a complete disaster, no matter how bright it looks, no matter how much the clouds part and the sun shines down, it ends up in a third-degree burn and a trip to the emergency room. The Man Who Killed Don Quixote has another torture turn in the long-lasting narrative.
So I have heard.
Terry Gilliam has lost the rights to the film to his former Portuguese producer, Paul Branco. Branco overturned a ruling in Paris courts and is now suing Gilliam and everybody who allowed for this film to be made and distributed, including current producers, distributors in France, and the Cannes Film Festival, where it premiered last month. This film has been plagued since 1990, with many different actors coming and going, and even a documentary, Man of La Mancha, was made to showcase some of the production troubles that Gilliam has faced over the decades in his pursuit to make this passion project. You got to check out Man of La Mancha. We've talked about it once or twice on the Cosmic Crossfire. It's a great film where you can see how hard it is to make a film. But this one, you see everything that they try to do goes completely wrong. Clearly, the curse continues. Orson Welles famously tried to adapt the Don Quixote tale and had troubles as well. The film now stars Adam Driver in the main role that was once in the hands of Johnny Depp. I ask you now, I've asked you before, Gerald, and I've asked several people, how can things get worse for this film and Terry Gilliam?
Well, I mean, well, and
think about it.
Don't forget Jonathan Pryce is in the film as well.
He could never get.
It's just, it's kind of ironic in so many ways because of the way the story has been told out. The story of how this movie came to light is actually better than the actual movie itself, whatever it comes out to be. And is it currently available anywhere on home streaming or anywhere?
No, it just premiered at the Cannes or Cannes Film Festival last month to mixed reviews. But that's it. There's a distributor in France on board, and I think that's how it got into Cannes. And that's it. It was getting lined up for several purchases and all that and deals, but nothing has been made yet. It's only been out a month. It's only been screened, I think, twice. That's it.
I mean, you and I have seen the trailer. I have. I know you probably have.
Yeah, I've checked it out.
So I mean, we can only get a little glimpse in it. But what are the odds that this movie never sees the light of day? Much
like episode 7, 8, and 9, and every other film that will ever come out, Infinity War 2 or Avengers 99, This will never live up to the hype and the tale that is around the story because of what has happened. It'll never live up to the press that it's incurred and its journey to actually exist.
Well, The Last Guardian, as far as if people want to reference a video game standard.
Exactly. Video game equivalent.
Yeah, even though it came out
Chinese democracy.
Yes, and it came out to decent reviews, but it could never live up to what 10 years plus of development cycle for that game, could hold. And there's actually games right now that are still in development for years and years. Final Fantasy, the FF7 remake, and some more, and more that are still, if they do finally come out, and it's just never going to hold up to whatever standard that we have set over the course of the many years of trying to follow it. So I get you on that. It's not going to ever live up to whatever the hype is and whatever the many years that Terry Gilliam, who is a brilliant director, he's made some outstanding films. Brazil is my favorite. I'm just going to go throw that one out there. And just say that, just a story that the story behind the movie is probably going to be better than the movie itself.
There's two ways that I can see this only getting worse. And they're both really inevitable. Well, either way, either one could happen, Gerald. Either one could happen. One, the film is never played ever again. It's never screened. It's shelved. Nobody ever gets to see it again, which is a pretty crappy fate for a film that's taking 28 years to get made and only screened once. The other thing is if it gets completely recut and just completely bastardized and put out without Gilliam involved at all any further, because the rights are now with this producer. Both fates, I think, are equally poisonous and nauseous to Terry Gilliam. I don't think you can come out of this with a happy ending at this point. I think the happy ending, the high point, was the fact that it screened at Cannes and that an audience actually saw what you were trying to do. It'll never live up to the hype, like we've said. You'll not get another gig based on it, anyways. And I think he spent so much of his life doing it. It can't have a happy ending at this point.
Well, that pretty much sums up a lot of Terry Gilliam's career, as far as you mixed reviews all over. But then again, a lot of his stuff has had mixed reviews that have actually, over the course of time, become cult favorites, become better appreciated over the course of the years. And that includes a lot of the movies that he's done over the course of his work and over the course of time.
I agree. He's made a nice little niche for himself, and oh man, he's the best in the worst, right? Like, you either love him or you don't love him. But I love filmmakers that are polarizing like that because they don't compromise anything.
No, so, and that's cool. That's definitely something that you can say about him, that his style is unique in a world and in an industry where it seems like everybody seems to follow the same type of formula when they're telling these narratives and these Hollywood blockbusters and even these indie films and other things of that nature. It's nice to see that Terry Gilliam is still willing to do things his way and show things to an audience in the fashion that he sees fit. And we may never get to see that happen when it comes to Don Quixote. And at his age, I'm not sure how many films he will have left, especially after this exhausting ordeal when it comes to Don Quixote.
I agree. Last thing I want to talk to you about, since we're talking about waiting 28 years for a film, the last thing I want to put out there, this goes back to our ongoing discussions of theme parks. We talk about theme parks in a bunch of different ways. There was big news that Tokyo Disney is doing a $2.8 billion expansion with worlds for Frozen and Peter Pan, and I think one or two other lots, including an in-resort hotel called Disney Sea, which of course echoes what's going on with Star Wars and the in-park hotel that they're doing there at Galaxy Edge. It was Donald Duck's birthday not that long ago, and there was a wait for 600 minutes to meet Donald Duck at Tokyo Disney. This is 10 hours in line. You're going to wait to meet the character, who we all know is just some schmuck in a costume signing autographs and taking pictures. Is it worth the wait, Gerald? Should we wait 10 hours to meet Donald Duck?
Oh my gosh. All I say is this. I have a daughter that's really invested into Disney and finds out all these things that you do when it comes to the Disney park expansions, the Disney Disney Insider news, and all that. And I got wind of this through her, and it's insane, man. I mean, the Frozen ride when it came out, in Orlando, that one is just, people were waiting like 5-7 hours as far as for that as well for a 3-minute ride. It's insane, man. I would not wait 10 hours. Now, if you paid me, that's a different story. And you paid me a lot of money, I'd go say hi to Donald Duck. But you'd have to pay me a lot of cashola, man. A lot of cashola. You're on mute.
The other thing is, this was Wilderness Donald too, right? This was not like standard classic Donald. This was in Frontierland. This wasn't in, like in Epcot where he's got like the Calabrero, the sombrero. This was Wilderness Donald. So he's like an offshoot. You go to these other places, you can probably find.
I think I've done 30 or 35 in Orlando. I think we did a couple there that were in the half-hour wait. That's not 10 hours though.
10 hours is a lot. I'm sure it's going to be different when those autograph books get in my kids' hands and they want to get everybody signing them and getting it all settled. But 10 hours is a lot. I put it this way. I would make sure that I'm there at the park a couple days to get up early and try to get that Donald Duck autograph to complete the collection. But 10 hours is a whole day, especially imagine in the sun right now.
But let me ask you this. What if your son or daughter, happened to be in Tokyo Disney and your son or daughter just had to have that Donald Duck autograph and you had to wait that 10 hours for it? Would you?
Nope. Too bad. Tough love. I'd say we all need something to want and yearn for in life. You have this one thing now that you have to spend the rest of your life trying to acquire. It's called motivation tactics. Or
you take the book to the restroom, say, I'm going to be right back, and then I'm just going to go.
Let me see what I can do. Hey, look, Donald signed this. I ran into him. He went quackers. Yeah.
Yes, he was on break.
Yeah.
That was right there, folks. That is typical Rob McCallum.
Hey, we'll get it done. It might not be the best means, but it'll get done.
There you go. Why does it say Jay Bartlett on this autograph book?
Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. That'll do it for another episode of the Cosmic Crossfire, Gerald. I'm glad that we're putting out these standalone episodes, too. We've had some good response to see them on their own, not just cut up into segments as part of the PCC or the multiverse, yeah?
That's correct, and it's been great. I tell you what, I truly want to again thank everybody on the Retro City Games Facebook page because they have been eating our podcast up like crazy, including your last full Cosmic Crossfire, which has garnered hundreds of views out there. We just truly appreciate them taking the time to listen to our shows. Just greatly, cannot thank them enough for doing so. And again, everyone else that listens to us on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, and so many other outlets, even YouTube. You want to check us out, we're on several YouTube outlets as well. We just cannot thank you enough. In fact, if you want to ask us any questions for the show, you can always reach us, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Also as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanity Media, Game Source on Facebook and Twitter as well. Plus also at Rob McZomb on Twitter, Rob McCallum Films on Facebook. And speaking of Rob McCallum Films, can we get an update of what's going on in your world when it comes to Rob McCallum Films?
Oh, my friend, I got lots going on. I'm embarking, of course, on the 2 horror scripts that I told you about. I'm still working on the one before I shift my attention to the other. I've got a short film in the works that actually might involve some stop motion animation. That might tie into a new comic book project that I'm also kind of starting to get off the ground as a cross promotion kind of thing. And lots going on for the Nintendo Quest video game, Gamer Quest as well, in which will take control of an 8-bit J trying to collect games in a PG-like /sim-like reality that has you traveling from town to town, collecting these games in a universe where game collecting determines social status.
And what else? What about box art, Power of Grayskull?
Power of Grayskull is coming out soon. Still can't say too much. We were supposed to be in the middle of a massive marketing push, but then we had some things happen, and we are not doing that because we can't quite open pre-orders up for ourselves yet, but that doesn't mean our original release dates aren't holding. It just means the plans we had in motion have been put on hold until after the big release happens. Box art doing really well. We're going to be digging back into it as post audio is starting to happen with music creation and other sound design drops, and just bring on a lot of people to be involved as third-party collaborators with different segments. So it is trucking along too.
And you've got Kitty's Origins and Evolutions on Amazon Prime. And you're also, speaking of Amazon Prime, you've got a lot of great things going on when it comes to Missing Mom and all those reviews.
Yeah, Missing Mom has done incredibly well. We hit over the 250,000 view mark on Amazon Prime in just 2.5 months. So that's been really great for us to see it reach such a wide audience. More people continue to reach out every day, and those 5-star reviews that everybody keeps leaving have been really helpful and beneficial. Kitty Origins Evolutions continues to make its way across the globe as fans from every corner of the planet have been discovering the film and reaching out, saying how much they love and how much they've been waiting for this, to hear the story from Kitty's own words and not have anybody interrupted, and just have the band tell their story of what's happened over their 20-year legacy career and how it's shaped everything for them and everything else afterwards.
Just so much on the plate for you, man. How can you just handle it all? I'm telling you. And a family man, too.
Lots of coffee. Lots of coffee.
Well, we truly appreciate you swigging back a couple of cups before you came on the show, and appreciate your inspired performance today. That's right here in the Cosmic Crossfire. Rob, as what? Any last ones on your inspiring performance? No?
I'm inspired by our discussion today. I'm inspired to quit talking about pop culture for another week.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Rob, as always, been a great pleasure having you on the show.